Welcome back to Ghoster Coasters, everybody. Today we're going to be discussing the Adventure Island on Forbidden Frontier area of Cedar Point and the ongoing ride removals and potentially what could be going on over there. Big thanks to all of our amazing subscribers and channel members for being a part of our spooky community and coasting with us through all of the thrills. If you're a fan of coasters and everything amusement parks, hit that subscribe button like your credit counts depend on it. Now, let's explore the wild potential of Millennium Island.
The park has undergone some changes during the season and off-season, starting with the closure of Snake River Expedition due to low foot traffic and future planning. Cedar Point knew the ride was fun but underperforming in low capacity, so it seems like they moved on. But a lot of enthusiasts believe this could be for something much cooler down the line, connecting Millennium Island over by the Camp Snoopy area to make the middle of the park much more accessible and make it easier to, say, cut from the Barnyard to Gemini without having to walk the whole circle around by Steel Vengeance and stuff. With the boat rides being gone for now, we could see the park seriously considering this, since it just makes a ton of sense to have foot traffic able to enter the island from both sides, and it makes it way easier to cut through the park while offering new views and angles you don't get to see too often over there.
With the merger and all the ride closures happening, many fans have been wondering what would be next at their favorite parks and if their home parks were safe from the ride removals. Cedar Point seemed pretty set to not lose anything major unexpectedly, and we did get the announcement for Snake River Falls, with the park stating they were removing the ride for future attractions and expansions. We've speculated on this area before, but we'll get into more details here in a bit. During the off-season so far, Cedar Point has started construction on their new for 2025 Siren's Curse coaster, but the rumors of a 2026 or 2027 edition have been heating up for some time.
Many say Cedar Point is going full steam ahead with their post-COVID efforts now, and there's some hope that Millennium Island, also known as Adventure Island on Forbidden Frontier, gets the revamp and total overhaul it's needed. And with the closure of Dr. Delbert's Fling, the park's Sky Coaster, formerly known as the Ripcord over in the action area of Cedar Point by Magnum back in the day, has also been removed without much fanfare, and we understand that removal. It's in a prime area, low ridership, time to move on basically. In the area where Delbert's Fling and the island sits is such a prime piece of land in the park, surrounded by the trees and some space to really add some cool stuff to the park if they creatively go about it. One thing the park is missing, that coveted top-tier night ride, and we have some ideas for this area, but let's really get into it here.
The island also saw its former playground get removed as well, signaling the end of the island's kiddie adventures and hopefully focusing more on teen to adult rides and entertainment to really bring some fun to that area. Flats packages and cool new walkways is one way to go about it. But again, Cedar Point could use a few ride models. According to the fans, a mock extreme spinner, a Vagoma, though we now got Siren's Curse, the coveted modern Woody that we'll likely never see on the island, among others such as flying coasters or family thrills such as a Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood. Plus, lots of other options we didn't even mention here, and it seems like they have the land to do it now. If they used some of the old island where Dr. Dolbert's Fling and the playground was removed and jumped the water with a new attraction, we would have somewhere in the 2.5 to 3.5 acres to work with. Not too shabby for future expansions, I'd say.
The survey sent out from the park featured a tilt coaster, but that's already being built, and a motorbike coaster along with a water coaster. The water coaster on the old plot of Snake River Falls makes a ton of sense to us, and a family-themed thrill attraction for the motorbikes would be an incredible flying around the island, low to the terrain experience, and kind of through the wooded areas over there. It'd be kind of hard to beat. I wouldn't mind if the park seriously considered a motorbike coaster for the island with some pacing like Big Bear Mountain at Dollywood. That would bring families and thrill seekers together for a bit of action in one of the coolest areas of the park.
Connecting the island adds a cohesive, sprawling layout to the park and allows guests to cut across without having to go through the whole Frontier Trail around the back, and making it easier to just access the island from both sides of the park, basically ensuring more foot traffic going to and from regardless. Only having one way onto the island and off was the silly part, and a lot of walking was required to do that. And I can't tell you how many people saw no benefit in it for them to go on the island. We know people who never even adventured over there, and some who did, just to film how silly the walk was. Adding that bridge just makes an immense amount of sense for foot traffic and flow to and from the area.
2026 or 2027 seem like the year they're ramping up for. During the construction of Siren's Curse, the park is actively removing other attractions from the island and seems to be making way for their future. And with the island closed off, who's to say we'll see much of that progress this summer except on Millennium Force rides whipping by on the island. Who knows if 2026 is the year, but we'd start watching for progress and anything popping up in that area as clues start to become clearer, and eventually we get that announcement from Cedar Point about the future of the island's expansion. Feels like a few years back, Tony said they weren't even looking at the island yet. And now, here we are, watching them prepare for the land and future expansions. Exciting times as a Cedar Point fan. What do you guys think they'll build on the island? New attractions, new walkways, new entertainment? There's been a lot of options commented, and of course, the rides. Which would you like to see built over there? There's a ton of options for that. And finally, when do we think the island fully comes together and we have a completed overhaul with whatever is coming that way?
Leave a comment down below what you think will happen to the park in the next few years. And if you love Cedar Point, smash that subscribe button now and join the spooky fun. And as always, thanks for being part of our spooky community and for coaster ghosting with Ghoster Coasters.